demand curve for the pizza is, so the demand function given P equals to 300 minus Q. This is the demand function. And the market supply curve is, this is the supply function and a tax of given T equals to 15 INR of tax is imposed on 1 unit of pizza sold. Answer the given sub questions. So the first question is the equilibrium quantity, that is Q star, and the price, equilibrium price P star before the incidence of tax are. So how to find the equilibrium quantities? When supply equals to demand function, both are equal, you have to find the P and Q. So this is the quantity Q on x-axis, price on y-axis is downward direction. P equals to 300 minus Q. If you put P equals to 0, Q equals to 300, that is this point, this x-intercept is 300 comma 0, and this y-intercept Q equals to 0, that implies P equals to 300. This value is 0 comma 300. This is the demand function. And the supply function equals to 60 plus 2Q. This value is 60. This is the intercept and upward slope supply. This is the equilibrium point. At equilibrium, P star equals to P equal to P star and Q equals to Q star. Okay, equate both. Supply equals to demand, that is 300 minus Q equals to 60 plus 2Q minus 60, 240 equals to 3Q, that is Q star equals to 80. Q star equals to 300 minus 80. In this equation, put Q star equal to 80, P star equals to 220. These are the equilibrium price and quantities, 220 and 80. For this question, answer is B. And next one, they are asking second question, find the consumer surplus CS before the incidence of tax. This green color area is PS, the area is CS, consumer surplus. So CS equals to half times base times H. This is area. So P star equals to, so in this equation, this is the P equals to 300. This is the triangular area. This P star value is 220, and this is 300 minus 220, that is 80, and this is 0 minus this point. This Q star equals to 80, 0 to 80. So this distance is also 80. This is 0 to 80. So consumer surplus CS equal to half base is 80 times 80, 40, 3200 is consumer surplus. Question is option C, 3200. So next, third question is find the producer surplus before incidence of tax. This green color triangular area, producer surplus. So this green color triangular is like this. This point is P star. P star equals to 220 and this point is 60. This P star is 220 and this Q star also 80. This is 80, this is 60. So this distance value is 220 minus 60 to 160. So producer surplus, this area of the triangle is equals to half base times height, that equals to half 80 times, it is 160. 6400 is the producer surplus. Answer for this question is option A. Quantity after the incidence of the tax. 300 minus Q. This is demand function. 60 plus 2Q. This is the supply. And tax equals to 15 rupees. Add tax to demand function. E plus 15. So this one. Demand function 15 equals to 300 minus Q. P equals to 285 plus 285 minus Q. This is the demand function after tax, after incidence of the tax, after the tax. Okay, and supply is same, this one. Equation number 2. This is the green color line is demand function. This is supply 60. This is the equilibrium point. Q star. After the tax T, PT star. You can find this way or you can find directly without drawing all those things. You can directly equate supply and demand function. That is, it is 60 plus 2Q equals to supply equals to 285 minus Q. 3Q equals to 285 minus 60. That implies Q star equals 225 divided by 3. That equals to 75. Q star value is 75. Question answer is C. After incidence of the tax T, QT star, quantity demanded 75. Demand function is P equals to 300 minus Q, right? The original demand function without tax. Without tax, this equation is 1. This equation is 3 without tax, right? You have to put QT star in this. So PT star equals to 300 minus 75 is 225. No PT because there is no tax, right? No tax. After incidence of the tax, price plus PT star, that is PT star plus tax is 15 rupees equals to 300 minus Q. And if you put QT star equal to 75 in this equation, that is PT star equals to 300 minus 75, this 15 tax minus 15, and this value is 1 300 minus 90, that is 210. PT star equals to 210 with tax. With tax, this value, that is after the incidence of the tax. The new price of the buyer pays after incidence of tax is the price equals to this value 225 of the tax, that is after incidence of the tax we find QT star, right? QT star, this value 75, and we put this QT star in the equation demand function. This is the demand equation. Given demand equation, we find the price P star, that is the new price that buyer pays after incidence of the tax is 225 rupees. The new received by the seller after the incidence of the tax is incidence of the taxes. You can subtract 225 minus 15. In this value minus 15 you can get 210 rupees. So this is the answer for this question is D, 210. So friends, how to find the loss in consumer surplus due to incidence of the tax? So to 300 minus Q. So this value is 300 comma 0. This also 0 comma 300 to 60 plus 2Q. Supply equals to P equals to 60 plus 2Q. This is the equation number 2. This is 60. And before incidence of tax, P star equals to Q star equals to, we already calculated. So in this 80 and 220, 80 and 220, Q star is 80 and P star is 220. This is 80 and this is 220. So 220 calculated. Consumer surplus CS and producer surplus PS. Consumer surplus is 3200 and producer surplus is 6400. Total surplus TS equals to CS plus PS, that is 3200 plus 6400 equals to 9600. This is the equation number 1. These all are calculated before incidence of the tax. So the supply curve shifted up, this blue color curve, after tax, that is supply after tax T. So we already calculated P star after the incidence of tax and Q star after the incidence of tax. So this one QT star is 75, QT star is 225. Equilibrium point E2, this is E1. Okay, this is QT star after the tax 75. So the price PT star, this value is PT star, that equals to 225 CST with tax T. This is also PST. Okay, you have to find the area. So CS, consumer surplus with tax and producer surplus with tax, and this value is 300 minus 225. We want this length 2812.5. This is the consumer surplus with tax. Its value is 2812.5. So PS producer surplus after incidence of tax equal to half 75 times times 225 60 minus 15. 60. Actually we don't know this value. We know only PT star after incidence of the tax PT star, and this intercept 60. This P is 300. We know these three values 1, 2 and 3. We want this value. For this value we want this distance, blue color triangular area, this distance. So how do we find? This is the incidence of tax. Tax is 15 rupees. Tax is 15 rupees. That is 225 minus 60, this distance minus 15 tax. So that is half 75 times 225 minus 60 minus 15. So this value is half times 75 after incidence of the tax is 5625. This value is 5625. So the total surplus after incidence of tax equals to CST plus PST 8437.5. This is the equation number 4. Consumer surplus due to incidence of the tax is, this is the question, right? Lost in consumer surplus, that is, so lost in CS equals to CS minus CST after tax. So this value is, CS is 3200, this value 3200 minus CST is 2812.5 equal to 387.5. So lost in consumer surplus. So next, loss in producer surplus equals to PS minus PST. PS equals to 6400, this value 6400 minus this value 5625, that is 775. So the loss in producer surplus due to incidence of tax is 775. This is the answer for this. Tax revenue, as usual, revenue equals to P times Q, that is tax revenue equals to tax times Q with tax, that is the quantity with tax. So tax equals to given 15 rupees and quantity of tax equals to 75. We already calculated after incidence of quantity tax, quantity equals to 75, this value. So 15 times 75, 1125. So answer for this question is D, 1125. And dead weight loss of the tax is, that is dead weight loss of the tax. So total surplus minus total surplus with tax plus tax revenue. So you can add with tax plus tax revenue also. So the total surplus is, so 9600, this value. So that is 9600 minus total surplus after 37.5 plus tax revenue we calculated 1125. It is 9600 minus 9562.5, it equals to 37 0.5. So answer for this question is 37.5. So the formula for dead weight loss of tax equals to total surplus minus total surplus with tax plus tax revenue. You can add these two and after you can subtract from the total surplus. You can remember this value is not 220. We don't know this value. This y-intercept original without tax supply curve, this intercept is 60. This is the tax. This gap value is tax. So how do we find this value? 225 minus 15 minus 60. We can find this value. Okay. Only this one you can remember. This is important. This area, this area is tax. That is 15 rupees. This is 60. This intercept, y-intercept is 60. Okay, you can remember this point. So this is the wrong. This we don't know this value. After this is 60 and this value is 15 tax. This is 15, this is 60. So we want this distance. So 225 minus 15 minus 60. So this is the value. Okay.